Hey guys, welcome to the CJ Murray podcast, and I'm honored to have today's guest, Marshall Teague. He went from being in the US Navy and police force to being a successful actor with about 46 years of experience. We dive into his philosophy of acting as he embraces the art of becoming the characters that he portrays. And with the world of experiences and stories, this was an interesting and insightful conversation to have. He loves his craft, and I feel humbled that he would take the time to invest in me. Please enjoy this conversation with Marshall Teague. What about your history are you most proud of?
My history that I'm most proud of. Wow. I'm glad I made it out of the military in one piece. How's that? That's something to be proud of. I'm glad I made it out of being a cop in one piece. Glad about that. Glad I got into the acting business. It's been quite a coup, for 46, 47 years I've been in it. So it's a long time, to have been in a business where initially they said you're going to fail, you'll never make it, which I thought was kind of humorous because I've been told that my whole life, you'll never make it. Of course, yeah, sure. Then I go do it. So I'm proud of all the things I've done in my life. I'm proud that I found my faith, that was something that wasn't really big in my life, most of my life. Found it. I don't preach about it. It's just my faith. And my wife helped me find that, and friends helped me find that. And I've lived with that, and I like it. That's one of those things you like. Some of my history I'm not real proud of. We've all done things that later on in years you look up and you go, man, I wish that happened, but it did happen. And you did what you had to do. And I took care of business as I took care of every bit of business I had to do. But then when it's over, you look back and say, I won't have it to do over again. But if I did, I might change my approach or make it a different approach. Of course, there's some you don't change. You do it like it is. But there's some you would change the approach of. But I'm proud of all those things. Proud I got married. I got married, let's see, it's been 25 or 26 years ago I got married. And I've been with my wife for 30 years. So I'm tickled to death with that. And we got our house that we busted our hump, over the years to put the money away and get it and work hard enough to where, when I retired or whatever it is, you're never really retired. You can sit there and go, okay, I'm good. I can live on this. The house is good. We have a good time. We got a great dog. She's asleep. Okay. And she and I have had two great dogs. Both of them look identical to each other. And the first one, Ellie, I miss terribly. And Stella, when she's gone, I'll miss her terribly. So it's just those things in your life come up. So that's what I'm proud of.
The small things.
Little things.
Yeah.
It's the things.
I bought Megan a fish for her birthday, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving.
Little fish, big fish, what is it?
It's a small blue betta fish.
He loves it dearly.
And it's really interesting too, because you buy something because someone else loves it. But as the months have gone by, I've said, if anything happened to that fish,
you're right, you're had.
Yeah. Now, if anything happened to the fish, I would feel it because now I come home and I'm talking to the fish. I'm staying with the fish, and yeah.
I carry on conversations with Stella all the time. And she answers me all the time, when she feels like it. She's out cold right now, so that's good.
Just thinking of normal, everyday life, so to speak. What's it like to go out, act different characters, and then come back and then carry on just your household life, just to be all these different people?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. Usually when I play a character, depending on the depth of the character, I try to crawl into the skin of every character that I play. I don't let go of all of them when I come home. There's some of them, don't get me wrong, I'm not walking around the house and the evil whatever he is or the good whatever he is. But once I take on a role, it stays here until the day they say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, that is a wrap. And then you have to shake it off and let it go and forget about it. You'll always think about it, but when you're doing the role, it stays in you all the time. So I'm not a person who can throw it off. Yeah, it's just a job. It's not just a job to me. I take on an acting role. It is very, very important because of several reasons. One, first of all, the company hired me to do a job. They hired me. I read for that job, so I was serious to get the job. And once I got the job, it was very important for me to make that character come alive and make him live. And that's not something you can just blast off. Yeah, there are things you do that you can do them, come home. It's not a problem. I got him, piece of cake. There are other characters that get deep into your head and you stay with him until the time comes for you to let him go. And you tell him, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for the visit. Thanks for letting me dig around in your skin. And then let him go. Now that's the hardest part, is letting him go. Because once you let him go, you got to say, sayonara. We're done. We're through. And you can think about it, but you don't go back and play the characters. I've only done that a couple of times in a couple of roles. Roadhouse being one of them, because of the friendship that Patrick and I gained for each other and remained until the day he died on that show. And that's a rarity. That, and some Westerns that I've done, which I love Westerns, that's, wow. That's a piece of history.
Yeah.
There are a couple of roles in my life where you can't let go of it. You can let go of the mean character, but there's something about it you maintain. So,
like the relationships you gain through it, the integrity of doing something well, even.
When I take on a job, I go in there to do it 150% every take, every time. And if I blow it, I blow it. Do I get mad and scream? No, I don't. I say, give me a second. I'll be right back with you. Say, let's roll the camera. Let's go to work. But I take the job very seriously. I take all jobs very seriously.
What are some actors you've worked with that have inspired you to work even harder, or that you took notes from?
So many of them over the years. Charlton Heston, gosh, I'm just, Sam Elliott. I can. Patrick Swayze is another one. Charlton Heston. Did I say Charlton? And yes, I did. I said Charlton Heston, but I don't know. They're just many of them. I mean, English actor, Sir. Oh God, why can't I think of his name right now? But probably one of the most brilliant actors that I know of. An actor that I have never worked with and would love to work with, but it will probably never happen. But if it does, I'll be thrilled. But to me, he is the epitome, the absolute pinnacle of acting prowess. He is every character that he plays. And, you see him on The Equalizer. He's just brilliant. 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because you watch him think as he does this. He thinks about everything he does. And quite frankly, he's like that on every role he does. So I really admire him. But Denzel Washington, that was who I was talking about, the last one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington is probably one of the most premier actors I've ever seen. I'd be blessed to work with him. And he's a heck of a gentleman. He's a heck of a gentleman. Very, very professional, He expects you to do your job. And if you don't do your job, I imagine he doesn't take it very well, which he shouldn't. But I've never heard of him yelling at people. I've never heard of him screaming at people. I've heard of him calling somebody to the side and said, let's try to work a little more together. I don't know who, but I've heard him doing that. But he's not a yeller or a screamer, and he's just very conscientious, very kind. That's just something I think is quite amazing.
It's incredible how many actors there are.
Sean Connery. Gosh, I had the names reversed. Sean Connery, that's who it is.
I love that. Yeah, it's incredible how many actors are so good at their craft, but just a few videos on the internet of them on set or in public that, if you have a bit of wisdom looking at, you know that a person isn't always, you don't know the details of every situation.
Oh,
But
people sit there and film every day. If they get something, a little snippet, they'll call somebody, you've got to buy this. This is so-and-so blowing his stack on the set. Why not? If you're screwing up and he's paying for it, yeah, he has a right to get a little pissed if you don't do your job. That's my opinion. If I'm not doing my job and he comes up and says, you're not doing your job, what am I not doing? And tell me how to make it better. I've never had anybody do that to me, but that's kind of what I would say. But people do that, and and it's a shame. People have I don't know how to how to call people nowadays. They do it for all the wrong reasons, and they need to just chill out. Now, granted, there are things that are filmed that should be filmed, but not everything that comes down the pike, and they run out to these tabloids and say, boy, I've got the best, you need to buy this. That's just stupid. And I don't have anything to do with it, so it doesn't matter to me.
So on getting better as an actor, in what ways do you improve at your craft on a regular basis?
I mean, there's no magic tool that I can wave over you and say you're going to be a good actor tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's got that. You can't teach acting. You can teach how to reach inside somebody and bring out what is them, what is unique to them. As far as a character, I read what I have to play. I read it, I study it, I find out these things about him that I think are important, and I work on it. It could be a body thing that you do with your hands, or a twitch in the neck, or a movement, a crunch toe, anything. But you study this about the person you're playing, and sometimes they're truthful, sometimes they're not. And I try to make those things come alive without making it so big that everybody looks at us, wow, he's got that limp down, he's got that stutter down, he's got you could run yourself right out of the theater because you over enhance what shouldn't be over enhanced. Just find out what you think it means to you. And as far as your acting is concerned, don't act. Don't. Become is the word I like to use. Become the character. Become that yourself. You can't go in there and say, well, I'll do. I did a show one time. I'm not going to say who it was, but I did a show one time, young kid. He was a total horse's butt. Matter of fact, he broke a beer bottle over my head. Rather than pick up the one he was told to pick up, and it was sitting there, he reached over and grabbed a real one. He hit me in the head with a bottle and broke it. Cut my head. And I looked at him like this. I went down and I finished the scene. When they said cut, I came up and I was going to knock his head off, but the stunt coordinator beat me to it and threw him over about 3 tables. And because I remember this guy, because they'd come in the morning, I said, how you feeling today? He said, I don't know. I don't know whether I want to be De Niro today or do I want to be Pacino today. He said, I think I'm going to be Pacino, bring Pacino into it. And I looked at him and said, why don't you just bring yourself into it? He didn't get it. And if he didn't get that he's good enough to do it, he needs, and by the way, I've never seen him since that show.
Mm.
So just to let you know how wonderful his performance was, I've never seen him in another show.
Safety
But
is pretty
people,
big on set. It's huge.
well, it was demonstrated to him.
Mm.
He said, "This is a bottle we're going to break. Let me show you how easy it is." Guy took his hand, hit it, broke the bottle. Here's the bottles. They're going to be sitting there. You're going to grab that bottle. You're going to smack Marshall in the head. Okay, got it. And he knew there were other beer bottles on the bar. And he grabbed the real one, and he knew it because the fake ones were right here. They were right there. All he had to do was grab it and hit me. Now he grabbed the real one and broke it over my head. I wasn't a happy camper. He didn't knock me out. He bloodied me a little bit, and I didn't like it. But there was no reason for me to exercise myself past that point because the stunt coordinator decided to step in and explain to the young man how stupid he was. And I just sat back and watched. Docked my head, and that kind of stuff. But he was pretty foolish. But you don't do that. You can't be Pacino because there's only one Pacino. You can't be whoever because there's only one of them. You can't be me because there's only one. You can be you, and you can make yourself unique and blessed, and go out there and do that job to the best of your ability. But don't go out there and say, "I've got to act this role." I've heard that, and I go, "Oh man, you're dead right now." If you're going to go out and act that role, you go ahead. I'll watch.
I've seen a lot of movie behind the scenes where they're portraying a real person that's still alive, and like the lead actor will sit down with the real person for weeks or months on end, just getting to know. And that to me, off of what you're saying, of just like really getting to know the person deep, deep down, not to like, I mean, I don't want to use the word act, but so that you just embrace the person as a whole.
Well, a lot of the following going around for 2 weeks is not all conversation. You let him do his job. Say, "Look, I tell you what I'm going to be. I'm going to be the guy that holds the reins of the horse here. That's going to be my job." That's a line I took, by the way, from Sam Elliott. Famous line. "I'm just happy to hold the reins. I'm going to hold the reins here, and you just go have your day. And if you don't mind, I'm going to tag along. Don't change a dead burn thing that you're doing. Don't do anything different. Matter of fact, pretty much forget I'm here. And you just be you. If you don't mind. If you do, I'll get another car and I'll just follow you. Or I'll sit in the car and mind my own business." But you watch the person live their life. You watch how they walk. You watch how they greet people. What is there anything unusual about the person that you find? How does he comb his hair? Does he comb his hair? Does he brush his teeth at night? Does he do that? Little nitpicky things you might think don't mean anything make the difference whether you play the character correctly or it's a total farce.
Okay, so
playing a farce, believe me.
Okay, so when it comes to becoming a character, I would think there's been characters that are maybe a bit easier to become and others that are a bit harder to become.
Yeah.
What's a character that you would say would be one of the hardest you had to take on, where it was just so completely other than you to become?
One was a pedophile. Yeah, it stopped you a little bit, didn't it? I didn't really appreciate the character, but I played it. But I never hurt any. You never saw me hurt anybody. But it was all indicated. But playing that and looking at them, and getting up close to them, let them look at your face and breathing on them, walking behind them, and all this stuff, touching their shoulders and all this other stuff, is stuff that is done. But I wouldn't do. There's certain things I just flat won't do.
Yeah.
I played that character because I knew the director. And he says, I'm going to do it by indication. I said, I'll indicate up to, and then you'll see the end result of what I did. And you'll hear the sounds of what I do. But no one's going to get hurt here. And I talked to the young lady and I say, you know, you and I are going to do this together. We're going to walk through this mirror together. I am totally trustworthy. Understand? I will scare you. I will scare you. Because there's going to be a point in this, you're not sure whether I'm not going to scare you or not, but I'll never hurt you. You know,
Yeah.
some people don't do that. They would rather just go ahead, grab somebody and throw them, whatever. I don't believe in that because I just don't think that kind of surprise is necessary. Because they're going to be surprised whether they know it's coming or don't know it's coming. So, you know, at least you tell them up front they're ready for it. Or they're loose. I said, just be loose. I'm going to pitch you, but you're going to land safely. You got two safety guys over here that are going to catch you. So that's just one character. You know, I've played many of them over the years that were different, you know, characters. And you have to really grasp it and crawl inside of it. Like I said, you're crawling inside that skin. It's you all over. It itches and you move with it. And but it's very important that you do that. You've got to get inside that skin. You've got to live with. You got to become it. You've got to become the character as close to it as you possibly. You're never going to be him, but your job is to indicate to everybody that this is what you are. This is who you are. And if you do that, people like your performance, you've done a good job. You're sitting there thinking about it. It's driving you nuts, isn't it?
I mean, it's a really neat concept. I've never acted in film. I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of stage plays over the years.
Same thing, dude.
Yeah.
Acting is acting, whether it's stage, television, screen, film, doesn't make any difference how you're doing it. Creating the character is always the same.
Yeah.
Here. And then putting it out there. It's always the same. It's just when you're on stage, you're more broad because you have to be, because you're downstage right or middle stage, and you have to project to the back seat. They've got to hear you in the back seat of the theater, depending on the size of the theater. But you've got to project where people can hear you. But that's just being the same character, louder and more robust. You can't sit up there and whisper like you do in film because you can't hear it. But when you have those mics on you, they can hear you. You know, they can hear you on film because you can speak just like that. You can tell somebody you're going to come across and rip your head off. You understand me? And it's very soft, but it says a lot, you know?
Man, so have you ever done any stage plays? Yeah. So I know you kind of delved into those.
Little film, a couple of stage plays years ago. I can't remember. It's been a lot of years since I did them.
Yeah.
But I remember I had a good time doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we were on for about 2 weeks and had a good time. You know, it was different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done the one thing I've done, you know, is I've done daytime television. I've done 4 different shows of daytime television. And I'll be honest with you, I am not a fan of doing daytime television.
How so?
Well, I mean, it's a stack of pages. You got 3 cameras. They're working. You're doing a show a day. And you can't really get into the character unless you're playing it day after day after day after day after day. You never speak to the director because he's up in a booth somewhere. He talks to you by a mic over your head. You don't know where he's at. He said, go on that 3rd line, and can you put the word "and" in there? You want the word "and" in there? Yeah, sure, no problem. It's very,
Huh.
it's just alienated, because you're on stage doing good work, and I admire the people that do it. Believe me,
Yeah.
I really admire. If you can do daytime television continually, you have my utmost. Uh, I just applaud you. Great job. But
Well,
it's
the
kind of
people that
boring.
do
It's
that too,
boring.
especially, yeah, like especially the lead actors, because I've watched videos and read just about the extended grind over months and months and years and years and years. And I'm thinking of Zachary Levi and Chuck, and he said, yeah, that the show Chuck was the jumpstart to my career. I gave about 3, 4 years of my life to it at least. And it was, I wouldn't trade those years, but also I don't know if I could do it again just because it's just the long days, 6 days a week, again.
Yeah. I played, several different characters, because you're on different shows. But my agents called me up and say, "You've got a reading for this." I said, "No, you got the wrong person. I don't have a reading for that." No, really, you didn't. No, I don't have a reading for that.
Hmm.
Oh, that's right. You don't do these. I said, "You're right. I don't. Thank you. Appreciate it. But it pays good." I don't care. I don't care. Because if you can't do it, you can't love it, or at least your mind get locked into it. No, I can't do that.
Hmm.
Because well, now obviously, because you have to be there, and every single day, all day. You don't see your family, you don't see anything. You just do that. It's all you do.
In terms of just the extended, plethora of everything that you've been on, would you say that's part of why you've been able to sustain it for so long and be in so many things? Because in your mind, I have to choose what I know I'm going to love and really just give myself completely to.
No, I mean, I've done shows that weren't that great, but it wasn't that. It was the character that I was playing. I mean, I've done shows that really I knew weren't that great,
Hmm.
but I knew that the character I was playing was pretty cool, and I wanted to go play. If the other people can't pull it off, that's tough, but you
Hmm.
will.
Was there a moment, or can you think of a moment where you could step back and just look around and think, wow, I can't believe I'm right here, right now? And I know, for how seriously you take the roles you've done and just throw yourself completely into it and become characters. There's um I guess healthy pride in that, but just like a moment where you just like take a step back and do nothing but take it in.
Well, I often do that. No, I really do. I often do that because I have been told since you understand. I came to be an actor when I was a cop. I was a deputy sheriff of Memphis, Tennessee. I'd been undercover, worked on other things, and I just decided I was going to do it. And I ended up writing Hal Needham, um, who was probably one of the best stuntmen, second unit directors, and that kind of in the business. And he's the one who said, "Well, I know, by your background, I know you could do stunt work. There
Mm.
is no question you could do stunt work. You could probably outdo most of the stunt players I have in what you can do, and you could learn the rest." He said, "But why don't you try acting?
Mm.
You have the looks, you have the build. Why don't you go try being an actor?" So I did. I was told I would fail from the first person I told, that I'm going to go and I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to be an actor, and they went, "Yeah, sure you are. Yeah, you, Marshall, you, first of all, my sheriff even said, he said, is my understanding that you have to have a sense of humor to be an actor. And it's also my understanding that you have to get along with people." He said, "The two things I've got you for on this department is one, you can track anybody. You do not have a sense of humor at all, and all this stuff you laid out. So you're going to be an actor. Good luck on you." Everybody home. The only person ever did that told me that to go get it was my dad.
Hmm.
He just said, as a young man, telling you not to go do something was foolish because I knew you'd go do it anyway. And you've always tried everything that was difficult just because it was the most difficult thing you could do. And everybody was telling you couldn't do it. And so you went and did it just to prove them
Hmm.
wrong. And I did. And so, yeah, that's how life turned out.
Hmm.
How did you get here, Marshall? People telling me I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
That's the easiest answer I can give.
Hmm.
Yes, they said it's impossible. You don't have any acting background, which I did. I'd studied acting when I was a cop, not much. I studied and ended up doing a play called Midsummer Night's Dream, and I played Puck, the forest nymph, at 220 pounds in green tights, wearing that with a green wreath on my head. And I was trying to sneak and do it so my partners wouldn't find out, but they came down and saw it. And the guy he was writing with, he said, "Hell, you weren't kidding. Your partner's crazy as hell." He said, "Yeah, you ought to ride with him." So that was my introduction to the police department, knowing I acted.
But did you become the character?
I wouldn't have known if I'd become the character or not because I didn't know anything about acting. I had just studied and tried, and they figured, oh, well, I didn't know. They said, well, put him in as comedy relief. I wasn't comedy relief. I was just a great, big, huge guy that lifted weights all the time, wearing green tights, playing Puck, trying to deliver as well as I could in an English dialect that I didn't know.
That's
That
awesome.
was that was my welcome to the world.
Oh,
Whether it worked or whether it didn't, who knows? But that's how it started.
just experience wise. So you've done some dialogue work for a video game or two, right?
Yeah,
What's
they're a lot of fun.
Yeah. What would you say is some of the differences between like being on a set and doing something as opposed to just being behind a mic with no one else in the room?
Well, I mean, it's different. I mean, you're by yourself, and the guy's coming over. He said, "Okay, you're reading it out. You got the dialogue down. You got it in front of you. I'm going to hit 3 beeps. You're going to deliver this line, and then continue on to this line, and then this line." And you might be playing a space gorilla. Talking like that. Are you trying to speak in this language? So you're doing all this crap, the 3 beeps in your ear. They give you dee, 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 boom, first line.
Huh.
So it's different. It's just another form of entertainment, you
Yeah.
know.
My day job is I'm an audio engineer. And so on occasion, I have the opportunity to do some dialogue recording
Sure.
for the ministry that I'm a part of. And I've found in the past year, I've come to enjoy recording dialogue more than anything, just
Sure.
because it's really neat to me to take a person from where they're at and you're at point A and you work with them for maybe 20, 30 minutes and they can really become what they're going for. And I know depending on who I'm working with, like they don't have the right energy right away because you got to give some
Yeah.
energy to it. And so one of the things that I'll try and coach people on is, oh, okay, we're going to go for some takes on purpose that aren't usable. Like, I just want you to get outside of you. I want you to give energy that isn't quite what works. But once you do that, we're going to rein you back in. Okay, now just change these couple nuances. And I've really enjoyed working with people in that way. It's really neat.
Yeah, I bet it is. You see them, you want me to do what? Why don't you do it like a crazy guy would? Just be nuts. Get out there and be nuts for it and it's
Yeah.
over here. And they do it, they're really crazy. Say, okay, fine. How'd it feel? Oh, it felt great. Okay, that's cool. Now we're going to rein it back. We're going to do it like this. Now
Yeah.
they've already got all that. They've got that looseness now because you gave them a chance to just blast.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll do it. And then you find they just went, fine, let's go.
Exactly.
Fun, isn't it?
It's awesome because a lot of people, they don't know. They don't know what's inside. They don't know what they're capable of.
Mhm.
And so the more experience you get, I mean, even I'm sure, like say you have a senior actor that you're acting with, and they look at you because they know you can take it up another notch, or hey, like you're doing great, you're doing awesome. Let's kick this up, and they know how to draw that right out of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right now, if I was going, I've had people I've read with or worked with, they look at me and they said, so do you want to kick it up a little? Absolutely. Because they all of a sudden they're feeling comfortable
Yeah.
and they know they can, but they're not sure if it works. I say, sure, bring it up. Let's see where we go with it.
Yeah.
Let's just kick it out. And we do it. And then we find out, no, it's a little bit much. Well, maybe let's just kind of bring it back here. Okay.
I remember hearing you talk about your fight with Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, and
Mhm.
how there came a point between the two of you where it's like, okay, like if we're gonna do this fight, we're really gonna both give it all we have.
Yeah.
And
Because Patrick is the one that said it because he knew I was ready to fight, but he knew I knew how to fight for stage and screen. He just said, what do you think about let's not cheat anybody? I said, came to the right place, man. I'm all in on this one.
and you know what's so interesting about that? So the Roadhouse remake that Amazon Prime is doing. Um
I haven't seen, you
yeah,
know, I,
I
I don't
have
think
not seen it. Say
because
what?
I don't think I'm going to see it. Yeah, I mean, one day I'll see it somewhere. I don't know. It'll play out, but everything I've heard about it, and you have to look at it this way: the Roadhouse I did has been out there for 36 years. 36 years it's been playing, and people watch it all the time. This one just got out there, and the first thing they're saying right now is, "Well, the licks aren't real." They weren't because they were hitting pillows. That
Hmm.
guy's hitting pillows to give the sounds for getting hits. We didn't do that.
Oh, for the Foley After Effects.
Yeah, for the after effect, the sound effects. We didn't. We just swung and hit,
Hmm.
you know, and nobody got really hurt. I mean, we got bruised up quite a bit, but
Hmm.
nobody got really hurt. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting to tie together a few things that you said because I saw a video clip of Jake Gyllenhaal talking about the fights with oh, I'm forgetting the name of the other lead.
the Irish guy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, where he had to remind him like, hey, like, okay, we're not actually fighting here because like he would just get into it so much. There came a point where, yeah.
Well, that is one of the reasons they did that because he's a fighter.
Hmm.
That's what he knows. He's not an actor. This was his first acting gig,
Hmm.
and whatever he did, but he's a fighter. He is a world class fighter. He will hit you and hurt you if you let him get it. But if you keep checking him, say, look, I don't mind if you throw it right in here. Throw it, tag me. You knock me out and I'm going to be pissed. And when I get up, it's going to be different. Yes, you might win, but you're going to know I was there. So don't do it. And
Hmm.
you'll gain his respect.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, I was a fighter. Patrick
Hmm.
Swayze wasn't a fighter. Yes, he had studied martial arts. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Studied martial arts, but I was NATO heavyweight kickboxing champion. I was a fighter. I'd knock people out all the time, all the time. But when he and I fought, it was perfect.
Hmm.
Yes, we hit each other, but we didn't. I could throw it and tap him, and it was just that's all it was.
Hmm.
But he knew I'd hit him. He knew, so he could react to it. Was he hurt? No, he wasn't
Hmm.
hurt.
What would you say over the past 30, 40 years have been some changes in the movie industry in terms of approach or expectations?
Oh well, I would say in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, the world has turned into a bunch of weaklings,
Hmm.
and with everybody complaining about why, because they let them complain, and then 2020 hit, and everybody had to stay in their house and all this other stuff. I don't have any reason to complain when I'm on the set. I mean, if somebody's out there making an ass out of himself, I'm gonna call him down, or I'll tell the director, just get him to calm down. Let's go to work. I don't have time for this. But I mean, he spoke rudely to me. He spoke rudely to you, and the guy probably didn't say a dad burn thing. Or I'm going to sue you for sex offenses. For what? But what did I do? But that's the kind of world it has become. So everybody's afraid of doing any and everything because they're afraid they're going to get hurt, or they're afraid somebody's going to say something. Everybody's afraid. The police are not afraid. They'll do their job, but you got to let them have the space to do their job, and get judges to put them away for it, not sit there and bring them in and turn them out the back door. That's ridiculous. It's childish, actually. No, if somebody says, do you agree with that? I absolutely do not agree with that. If I've done something wrong, they arrest me, I expect them to take care of it. But that's just me. I can't speak for other people, but people have gotten to be a lot weaker, and it bothers me because they've really started. Last 3 years, they've been pushing. They push on TV a lot. We're looking for a more gentle man. We're looking for a more gentle man. We want a more gentle man. Look on TV, gentle man. No, I'm not one of them, baby. You got the wrong person here. I am what I am. I'm a grown U.S. grade A male American. I'm not anything special, but I'm not going to put on that crap or act like him, or say you spoke rudely to me. That was rude. Whoopee. They need to grow up some. That's the way I look at it. They just need to grow up.
So like you felt that on movie sets and like working with actors, just that spirit of complaining?
Across the board. They've cut their legs out from under. They said, you can't do this. You can't say that. You got to take this. You can't do this. You got to go to this. You got to do this. You can't say anything. I'm going to talk like I normally talk, dude. If that bothers somebody, tough. I have never been accused of saying a rude thing to anyone that I don't think deserved it, mind you. Let's clarify that. But I usually cut it down to he and myself and the other person and say, let's square this away. Let's you and I get this together. But they do it all the time, literally. I just have no time for it in my life. That's just not part of my life.
Something in a sense that I can relate to, just that I'm learning, is how to say no to people, because I have a grip on my own identity. And I mean,
so you look at them and say no.
Yeah.
I told you I'd answer your questions if I felt like answering. If I don't feel like answering, I won't answer them. The answer is no. I just answered you right there. No is a good way of saying it. You can practice it if you want to. If you need the practice, I don't think you do. But you can look at it and say, you can do this. You said, well, that's what you feel. That's fine, but the answer is no. It's not up for discussion. Thank you. And walk away. Leave them standing there with on their face, and just say no and walk away.
What's been a way throughout your work you've learned how to live your faith better?
When I eat a meal on a set, of course, it's the same as when I'm home. I'm on set and we get our food, we go to the table. I drop my head and I say my prayers. If that bothers somebody, I can say, well, there's a table over there where you can move away. But I'm not saying it to you. I don't care whether you say your prayer. I say it for me. But I say my prayer every meal. And I don't go around going, God love you. Jesus loves you. I know Jesus loves me. If he was pissed off at me, he'd let me know. And I'm sure he has a couple of times. But I try to treat him fairly. I thank him every day for the day of his birth. Most important day that has ever been given to this world. I said, the day you died, when you sacrificed your life to take away our sins, it was the greatest gift mankind has ever been given. For that gift, I thank you. Every day I say that prayer, and that's how I end my prayer. And I don't really care who hears it, or I don't say it out loud, because when at the table, when everybody's eating, I just duck my head and say my prayer. Will come up to me and say, well, I see you said your prayer. I said, well, you're observant. He said, are you a man of faith? I believe. If you want to know if I believe if I have faith, yeah, because I shouldn't be here theoretically. I should have been dead years ago, man. Stone dead.
How's
and
that?
I'm not. Business takes on many forms, my friend. I was in the military. I was a bodyguard. I was a lot of things. The fact that I'm still here, that should answer your question without me going into a great detail.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My mindset was on the acting career, and then I recalled.
Look, I've had some close quarters on the acting career. I've been burnt, caught on fire, things like that. I've been hit by a helicopter. I'm still here.
Mind me asking about that?
I had an idiot that was standing in the way. I went in there to get him out before he got his head cut off. The struts hit me and knocked me about 14 feet into the side of a building. Ain't no big deal. He's alive. He's still got a head on. He turned around and started yelling at me. And then again, stunt coordinator came on. He said, had he not, you wouldn't have a head, idiot. He got really quiet after that. He didn't apologize. He didn't need to apologize. I'm just glad he's okay. It just depends on how you do your job. Now, granted, there are people in this business that have never had to worry about that. Why? Because the only thing they care about is themselves and what is exactly right for them. They don't care about any other person except them. And if that's what's great for them, I'm all for them. And I think about that with myself too. Don't get me wrong. I think about me, but when I see somebody that needs the help, you move on it. You don't hesitate. You move on it. Get them out of the way and say, are you all right? Cool. Okay. Then walk away and go do what you were doing.
When I looked at the list of things that you've been in, I'm amazed at the amount of experiences that would go along with that. I mean, the locations, the plethora of people, you meet so many different people. What's been some of the most interesting locations that you've been able to go to?
I've been Bulgaria, Lithuania, Poland, Mexico, and in the military too. I mean, but that's in the acting business. And I don't know how many states I've been in, it's all over the place. Just wherever I'd end up, just where I don't really care where they're going to shoot. I have directors that, I've known you long enough to know if I told you we were going to the Antarctica to shoot a movie, you'd say, let me get my grip bag. All my stuff's in it, So because they're great directors, I would work with them because they're great directors. The where you're going does not make any difference. What you're doing makes a difference. Is it going to be uncomfortable? More than likely. Is it going to be cold? More than likely. Is it going to ruin your day? Nope, not at all. You're very lucky. In the case like that, you're very lucky to have that. So enjoy.
Yeah.
Don't go in there with any preconceived ideas. There's some places you go in, you kind of look and say, okay, what can we expect here? How are the crews? Are they good? Are they thinkers? Do they work? They want to take a break? Do they smoke? Are they loud? If they're loud, I'd rather not be around them because I'm not a loud person. I like it, kind of even keel.
Yeah.
Because everybody works a lot better that way, And And when you work and you get a situation where everything's pretty close to that, wow, man, you burn through this stuff. You just eat it up, and they say, Marshall, that's a wrap. I'm not ready to quit yet. And the guy says, you're done,
That's
man.
awesome.
Go home. You're done. You've been
Oh,
doing great. You gave me 12 hours. So
oh, that's phenomenal.
it's a lot of fun, man. It really is. Everything I'm talking to you about is actually in more ways than one. You can have with the exception of a few, you can have a pretty great day. There's something in everything that you do you can look at and say, I had a pretty great day.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I feel like there's a world more questions I could think of.
If there's something that you need to ask that you feel that you haven't, ask it. I'll answer it if I can. But if you think you've got everything you need, man, I've enjoyed it. I don't know about you, but I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it, man. I can't say I've really talked to many, if any, actors. So this has been pretty cool.
Well, you'll hopefully, grace of the good Lord, you'll get more interviews with other actors, and you might find that most of them, a good number of them, have a certain amount of faith, that they believe in. There are some that you'll see will tell you no, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Just look at them and say, cool, all right. I do, because knowing how long I went that I didn't have any, felt nothing for anyone, felt no sympathy or empathy. Only thing I cared about was get the job done. That's no way to live your life. And as I met my wife and I've learned, everybody says, what's the big deal about your wife? Because I talk about her a lot. I tell the world, and I say this religiously, I say, I learned to look at the world through a different set of eyes. And she's a pistol. I mean, she's tough as a pine knot, but she's she's a great lady, man.
As we wrap up, here's a interesting question.
All right.
So,
This is your finale question?
yeah, we'll call it the finale question.
Okay, go ahead. Fire away.
So Megan and I, we're still newlyweds. We've been married for about a year.
You got training wheels on, man.
Out of your, what was it, 34 years of marriage, you said?
No. We've been together 26 years, married 31 years. We've been together 31 years. We've been married 26 years.
Fantastic. What nugget of marriage advice could you give to Megan and I as a newlywed couple?
That is the easiest question to answer I have ever been asked. Thank you for asking that question. Talk. Two of you need to talk. You're going to get, trust me, she's going to get frustrated with you. You're going to get frustrated with her. You guys are going to be, I don't want to talk. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Hey, how dare you tell me I can't do this? What do you mean I'm not stupid? I said this. There's going to be every kind of thing you can imagine. Trust me, I've heard them all. And she's right most of the time. But the one thing I've learned is talk. Sit down together. If things get a little off kilter, and talk. And don't be afraid, to sit there and say, by the way, I didn't say it this morning. I haven't said it in a couple of weeks. I love you. You're the best thing ever happened to me. And, I do say it. She says it to me. I'm more apt to say it than her because I'm always the one in trouble, but it doesn't matter. But I've learned that if you will talk to that person, hold hands. When you take a walk, hold her hand. My wife and I have been holding hands for 31 years. And we walk about every day, not quite every day, but when we do, I've got her hand and she's got mine, and we walk. And that's the way I like to walk. And if I have to do something, I take my hand away, but then when I'm done, I get her hand back. But those are two really simple,
Simple. Yeah.
little things that, for whether you're married a year, whether you're married 30 years, that if you do that and talk it out, don't get me wrong, there are going to be times she doesn't want to talk to you. There are going to be times you don't want to talk to her. Go do what you got to do. Seriously, go park company, go do what you got to do, then come back. You'll be quiet for a while, and somebody's going to say, "You want to talk about it?" Or I felt this way because of that. Okay, but talk, man. If you don't talk and you don't hold hands, or you don't look at each other, and you don't give her a kiss, if you don't do some simplest crap, and it's not crap, it's real stuff. But if you don't do some of this, man, you've lost. She's lost. You both have lost. It's just that simple, man. You got to talk. And once you do that, and once you find out, you give her a big hug, you tell her you love her, and you work it out. That's the simplest things I can give you. Again, it's the little things.
I couldn't think of a better thing to end on.
Well, I hope it meant something to you, whoever listens to it.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed talking to you. Sorry it took so long, but I've been busy. I've been busy, but we've worked it out. We got it done. I've enjoyed the talk. Seriously, just talk to her. And thank you for having me. And, everybody concerned, just thank them all.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for your time, Marshall. I really appreciate it.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Check it out.